ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Wednesday, September 24th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. Coming up today on the program, we're going to be speaking with Andrew Brown. Recently named the Senior Associate Director of Athletics, Capital Projects, and Championship Facilities. That, of course, coming in August from Vice President and Director of Athletics, Gerald J. Harrison. That's a lot of a title. Let's just say Andrew gets stuff done. And so Andrew's going to join us in the next few minutes. We're going to talk about the recent announcement that the WVSSAC Baseball Championship is going to be coming to Huntington and Marshall University, of course. That's going to be over at the Jack. That's important for many reasons because I can't think of a successful bid in recent memory outside of wrestling for anything coming to Huntington. And, of course, a lot of these championships have been locked for many years. So this is a big event. It's expanding to 8 teams per classification, and that means a lot more opportunity for teams and families to come into Huntington, spend money. You have the room, board, food, everything that goes involved with that. And so that's a big deal. It's going to be over at the ballpark next year. Andrew's going to tell us a little bit more about that in a few minutes. So we'll talk to him. Until then, we'll get your text in. That's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 as we're getting closer to Marshall versus Louisiana. That's coming up on Saturday, and, of course, we'll have that game for you right here, also on 93.7 The Dog. So I'm looking forward to all of that this week with you. I'm going to be over at Giovanni's on 20th Street, so that's the invitation to you. If you don't have a place to watch the game, Giovanni's 20th Street, going to be a great location for you. Or if you've already got a place, but, hey, what are we going to have? Giovanni's. Just come in. Tell them you heard me talk about it. That would be even better. Say, hey, I heard Paul Swann on the radio talk about the pizza at Giovanni's for game day. So I need one of those. That would definitely make my day. So what are we going to get into today other than, of course, the fact that we have got a baseball tournament coming into Huntington. And, of course, we've got Marshall getting set for Louisiana. Now, usually I try to reward you, and I don't have tickets just yet. We'll have tickets to the next game, but we haven't done this in a while. It's time to basically tell me who's going to win the game for the Thundering Herd, and try to be creative as you can. It's easy to say, hey, here's what the score is going to be, but no. Tell me what is going to happen. Who's going to have the winning play? Not, oh, it's going to be a field goal. Okay. How will the Herd win the game against Louisiana? So we're going to have a little fun with it today. We haven't done that in a while. And so we'll get those texts in just a few minutes. And if you don't have the number, you just joined us. Again, it's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's going to be the number. Texture says, Paul, it's going to be Carlos Del Rio Wilson up the gut for a tush push. Marshall wins the game. I'd like to see that. That's one I want to see. I want to see Coach Gibson dial that up right away. So that's right off the top. That's how it works. So you can text that in as well. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 to be on the show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We got baseball action coming up tonight, 6:40 first pitch. It's going to be the Pirates taking on the Reds. Yesterday, the Pirates got the win over the Reds 4-2. Let me tell you, this wild card race is tight right now. It's almost anyone's wild card. If you look at the wild card standings in the National League, it looks like this. Right now, your wild card would be the Cubs and the Padres. The Cubs have got 88 wins. The Padres have got 87 wins. And the Mets and the Reds are basically battling it out right now. The Mets have 81 wins, and the Reds have 80 wins. Now, this could have been tied yesterday, and the Reds would have had the tiebreaker, I believe. So right now we're looking at possibly either the Diamondbacks, the Reds, or the Mets making that final push. The Cubs are in, the Padres are in. Would it be a Red October? Can we hope for a Red October with the Reds sneaking into the wild card? Of course, the Pirates are, by the way, Pirates are 13 games back of the wild card overall. If you look at the division, the Pirates actually, I know they're 26 and a half back, but it could have been worse. To be honest with you, they're 68-89. I get it. Completely. If you right now are a Pirates fan and you're hanging on and you're following them and you're watching it, it's because you got nothing else better to do, right? That's it. That's your enjoyment, watching Pirates baseball. But we're going to have the game for you coming up tonight right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And, of course, yes, I know it might sound like I'm rooting against the Pirates, but it's very hard because I did grow up a Reds fan. I'm not going to lie to you, though. I told someone yesterday, the Mets are like my third or fourth team. It's always been the Reds for me growing up, but I have an affinity for the Pirates, ever since I met a lot of the people involved with the organization. And you know what? If you're nice to me, it goes a long way. If you're not nice to me, that also goes a long way. But very nice people in the organization. So, I've got an affinity for the Pirates, but I'm a Reds fan also. Kind of always liked the Mets because I got that affection for some of the New York teams. Now, if you know me well, you know my football and my baseball usually have always been in Cincinnati. And if I had an opportunity to have an NBA team in Cincinnati, I'd probably root for that team as well. But since I don't, I'm a Knicks fan. I've been a Lakers and a Knicks fan. I know. Look, I saw something on social media that said the key to happiness is to run with a better team than the one I'm running with now. And so maybe if the Bengals can't get it done, maybe I got to find a side piece of a team for football. But with that being said, baseball has gotten interesting with the wild card race over the last few games. And so we've got it for you again tonight here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So when we continue, we're going to talk to Andrew Brown. He's going to tell us about the project that has happened at Marshall University. One of the people very instrumental in bringing this tournament to Huntington. And if it goes well, we're going to see it for at least, I believe, 3 to 4 years. It's set for 3, and an extension year is available. And so Andrew's going to tell us a little bit more about that. Wayne Ryan's going to join us tomorrow from the WVSSAC, so we'll get his thoughts on that as well. So all of that's coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hey, Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's.
What if someone could tell you what pest control issues you are most likely to have at your house in the next couple of months? Basically, someone that has like a bug or rodent psychic. Wouldn't you want that same person to handle your pest control services now? That's what Patrick, Becca, and the whole team at K&B Pest Control can do. They can predict the future. And better yet, prevent it from happening at your house. Call them now. 304-523-4281. K&B Pest Control. They'll kill for your business.
What is that thing? Oh, my, the two big red eyes and the wings. Oh yeah, funky babies. Word is that the Mothman has been spotted getting his groove on at the Ritter Park Amphitheater. And did you know Funkafest has expanded to 2 days this year? That's right, Funkafest 9, The Funk Awakens, is October 3rd and 4th in Huntington, West by God, Virginia. 2 jam-packed interdimensional days of soul-shaking live music from Sneezy, Jocelyn and the Sweet Compression, the MFB, Jeremy Shore, Joey H, Massing, Chocolate Four-Wheeler, DJ Charlie Black, and more. Plus, visual art, live painting, fire and flow performers, craft beer, food trucks, funky yoga, disc golf, the Kids Corner, and that late-night silent disco on Saturday. Big love to our funky friends, The Loud, Bad Shepherd Beer Company, Bonhoff, Basque Smokehouse, Luna Pizza, Marshall University Sustainability Department, The Good Time Show, Vandalia Digital, Kindred Communications and Kindred Digital, and Graphic Solutions. Kids 12 and under get in free. Tickets at funkafest.com.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products or compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Truck accident? Tom Boggs is here for you in Huntington, and he's brought the expertise of Warner Law Offices with him.
Call 345-6789.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll continue with our text line in just a few minutes, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. A couple of days ago, the announcement came that Marshall University, the city of Huntington, would play host to the WVSSAC Baseball Championship. That's going to begin next year. And one of the architects that helped make this possible at Marshall University is with us now. It's Andrew Brown. He was recently named the Senior Associate Director of Athletics, Capital Projects, and Championship Facilities. He's with us on the program now. And Andrew, first of all, congratulations on the promotion. I guess the title now fits all the jobs that you do.
Yeah, I guess so. It's all encompassing, that's for sure. But no, I'm excited to be a part of the team and appreciate Gerald and the administration here showing their faith in me.
So this is first of all, it's exciting to have an event like this come to Huntington, and you had a major part of that. What's the process like to get this off the ground and make a viable bid to actually approach the WVSSAC and say, hey, we'd like you to come here and prove it that you're the best spot?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it started really when we were notified in the spring that they were going to be expanding the field for the state championships. And we saw, and we were notified that they were going to be putting it out for bid. And we have a really good partnership with the Huntington CVB. And Anna Atkins over there reached out. We'd worked with her before on a couple of different bids with the WVSSAC for the cheer competition that we were fortunate enough to win that bid for our arena. And then we put in that joint bid with West Virginia about 18 months ago. And we're hopeful to get the football state championship. And so we have a good bit of experience with it. The SSAC provides you with the specifications that they're looking for. And so we got a group together of folks on campus, folks in the community, and members of our athletic department to try to put our best foot forward and show them that Jack Cook Field was the place to be.
Was there anything in those previous bids that really helped you in the process this time around, or is there something you learned that you were able to apply a little bit more directly to this bid?
Yeah, so they communicated a really high level over there, and they have some, specific requirements and things that they're looking for. And so I think what helped us on this bid in particular is that we built our facility at baseball with the hopes and plans of hosting events like this. So we knew whether it was an NCAA regional in the future or a state championship, we knew we were going to need X amount of locker room areas, X amount of batting cages, media spaces, radio booths, broadcast capabilities, seating, all of the things that we put into our ballpark to accommodate Marshall baseball, we knew would also address needs for state championships, NCAA regional bids, and things of that nature. And so being a part of that build and planning for it on the front end, I think we knew when it came time for this opportunity that we were at least going to meet the requirements and then some to hopefully put us over the top.
So what's next for the foreseeable future? You're going to get ready, obviously, for Marshall baseball season with this coming up as well. So what does that mean as far as the workflow and the timetable for you and your team?
Yeah, so we've already started setting up some meetings and planning with the SSAC and our groups here locally. I think this is something that a lot of people are going to want to be involved in the community and the surrounding area. So working with the Huntington CVB, our partners on campus, this is anything that we can do to try to bring high school and middle school age kids and their families specifically to our campus to showcase Marshall University and try to increase enrollment and let people see what we have to offer here is something that we're going to jump at. And so that was really one of the driving forces behind us wanting to get the bid. Our president is doing amazing things on campus, and one of his initiatives among many is to continue to increase enrollment. He's obviously doing an awesome job in that area, but this is a way that athletics can aid and help in that. And so all of those constituents and those ideas are going to be coming together to try to put on a first-class event and hopefully continue to improve upon it each year. So we'll be meeting regularly from now until June.
Has it hit you yet what the logistics are going to look like? We're not talking about 4 teams per class now. We're talking 8 teams per class. So that's a lot more coming into Huntington. And obviously that means greater opportunity, as everything you just highlighted. But in your head, what does that look like, trying to make sure that it flows and you get all those teams on and off that field in a organized manner, and you're making sure that you're servicing all the fans? I'm sure you've got a whiteboard with all of this outline, right?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot, but I think, we do this for a living, right? We're in the event operation and facility management business, and we're here for our sporting events are the main attraction for all the things that we do for our student athletes. So, we can figure out all the logistical items. It's rinse and repeat once you figure out the basics, and we've got a pretty good feel for that. And honestly, it'll be the incorporating folks from the community and our campus partners a little bit more that I think will be not a challenge, but just a little bit different than a standard game day in one of our venues. But I think that'll only make the event that much better, and hopefully the students and the families appreciate that.
Now, I don't know how much you can actually speak to the recruiting aspect of this, but with a brand new facility, with really nice locker rooms, with everything that comes with Jack Cook Field, obviously the kids are going to come, they're going to see the facilities, their eyes are going to buy in. And I know recruiting, you got to be careful with everything you do, but the facility almost speaks for itself. Just how do you make all of that work, knowing that these are recruitable athletes that are coming into a Marshall facility. How does that work for those maybe who are kind of curious about that, or to ask, okay, so what can you do? What can't you do? And I'm sure the facility's going to sell itself.
Yeah, I think so. I think, like you mentioned, the facility, the amenities, the bells and whistles that we put into that place will sell itself. It's an exciting opportunity for our baseball program to have that level of, that amount of student athletes coming to campus, seeing what we have to offer. I'm hopeful that those kids, if they're able to play at our level or interested in playing at our level, our coaching staff's going to be all over it from a recruiting standpoint well before they come here for the state championship. So those conversations and meetings will probably be had well in advance if there's student athletes that our coaches are interested in whenever the recruiting periods whenever that's allowable within a recruiting period. So, but no, it's a major win from that vantage point for sure. I mean, our staff has prospect camps regularly and elite camps where high school age kids can come and they can get a feel for the local talent. So this will just be another opportunity for that.
You mentioned the buy-in from not only the community, but from the entire athletic department. I would assume that means football, baseball, softball, volleyball, soccer, everybody coming together, trying to put their best foot forward for this project. What have you seen so far from basically your coaching community? Because I know it's a tight-knit community right now with all the coaches supporting each other. And, outside of facilities, you definitely need that type of support across the board to make this work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody's excited. Like you mentioned, getting people to our campus, getting people to see our venue, they're going to want to walk over and see the stadium. They're going to go in our indoor, and maybe some people won't even be aware of the fact that we have a track and field program and a beautiful indoor track. Or they'll pop upstairs and see our academic center. They'll drive down the road and see where the soccer program plays, or they'll pop in the arena. So I think it's a win for everybody on our campus. It's a win for our coaches, and I don't think there's anybody that won't be all in terms of helping us put on a first-class event that the university and the city and the region can be really proud of.
Joining us on the program to discuss the winning bid that the City of Huntington and Marshall University received for the WVSSAC Baseball Tournament is Andrew Brown. Again, the title finally fits all the jobs: Senior Associate Director of Athletics, Capital Projects, and Championship Facilities. I think we probably need to add a few more titles to that really to encompass it all. But I'm going to throw it out here now. Now that we've got the baseball tournament for the next few years, what's coming up next? Can we look forward to soccer, something else? Do we have enough irons in the fire right now? You want more, right?
Yeah, we absolutely do. There won't be a single bid that comes open that we don't try to be a part of. We've got the summer baseball at our ballpark that we've been doing. We're trying to get, we just had the concert at the football stadium. We're in the business of taking care of our athletic programs first and foremost, and then trying to utilize our venues, which are first class. We put a lot of time and effort into them, and making them as nice as possible for a game day experience for our student athletes, for our fans. And so we want to continue to do that, bring people to the community. One of the things specifically with our baseball stadium, we got grant money and money from the city and the state to try to help boost economic development in the area. And so the more events, the more tournaments, things of that nature that we can bring to our venues, the better. It's good for athletics, it's good for the university, and good for the community. So we'll keep trying, brother, and we're not going to stop putting our best foot forward, that's for sure.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And you've alluded to this already, and I think you probably have answered it, but I know it comes from the top down with Brad Smith. He's definitely supporting you. I'm sure you've gone to him, he's gone to you. But now you bring in really a dynamic athletic director in A.D. Harrison. I know he's probably come into this process late. how much of a resource was he able to be for you as you progressed with this? Or, was he just, hey, you guys are doing great, keep that work up?
Yeah, no, he has experience with hosting these types of events at some of his previous stops. I know when we first discussed that we were putting in the bid for it and just letting him know that we were taking those steps. He threw us some ideas from things he'd done at other places. He certainly sees the value in it. And, like you said, in lockstep with President Smith in terms of understanding the importance and how this can help everyone in the area. And so he's been great. He's been great to work with. He has a super positive attitude and is just excited to be a part of the community and bring things to the community that we can be successful with.
Our guest is Andrew Brown, the Senior Associate Director of Athletics, and a whole bunch of other things at Marshall University. We won't go over that long title again. Oh, no, I know this. This is a project you're going to be working on nonstop. It doesn't stop for you. What's the next thing happening? Football obviously continues on. We got basketball starting up soon. We got volleyball. We have hoops in Huntington. What's the next thing that maybe your hands are on that you're trying to get ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, you named most of them. I mean, we're getting ready for all the stuff that's coming up. We're about to enter that crossover season with fall sports and winter sports, so we'll be really busy. Hoops in Huntington is an exciting event that we have coming up. There's a number of new initiatives that Gerald and Naisha and our team are working on, from a fan experience, game day experience, some things to look forward to for sure in the coming months. But you touched on most of them, and then we'll keep it rolling. I'm sure we'll have some new stuff popping up soon.
Looking forward to it. Our guest, Andrew Brown, Senior Associate Director of Athletics, Capital Projects, and Championship Facilities at Marshall University. Congratulations. This is a fantastic event to bring to Huntington. I know for the next few years you're going to have an opportunity to really showcase what you do, what the university is all about, and Marshall baseball.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be on with you.
Thanks, Andrew. We'll do more of that soon. We will come back with your text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Earn more with 4 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 4%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by one of the 8 Poca Valley Bank locations today. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter.
Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Transform your outdoors all year long with Roberts Lawn Care and Landscaping. Family owned and operated, serving the tri-state area with expert landscaping services. From vibrant spring gardens to cozy fall patios and everything in between. Roberts specializes in sustainable landscaping that thrives through every season, residential or commercial. Roberts creates personalized solutions to bring your vision to life. Call Roberts today at 304-633-5822 because your dream yard deserves 4 seasons of care.
This fall, let the Car Ferry bring a little magic to your driveway at Mark Porter Auto Group. With locations in Pomeroy, Jackson, Ohio, and Ashland, Kentucky. Want to shop 24 hours a day? Cozy up with a cup of cider and browse our full inventory anytime at markporterautogroup.com. Fall into a safe, reliable vehicle and let the Car Ferry guide you to Mark Porter Auto Group in Pomeroy, Jackson, and Ashland. Or shop 24/7 at markporterautogroup.com.
This November 4th, voters will be asked to approve a levy for the Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities. The agency is asking for additional funding to support residents with developmental disabilities. For more information, visit lawrencedd.org. Paid for by Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities.
Buddy's All-American Barbecue, now delivering straight to your door. Wings, ribs, brisket, and more. Order online today at WVBBQ.com. Great barbecue, ice cold beer, and killer wings, all without leaving your couch. In Huntington.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. AMDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talkline, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with today's edition of The Drive. Our text line is open. It's 304-396-TALK, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-8255. I asked earlier, how's the game going to be won? Anybody can give me pick the score. We'll do pick the score. But how's the game actually going to be won? Texture says, Paul, I mentioned yesterday that the contest would go into overtime. Lorca Quinn for the win. Yes, Quinn for the win. It rhymes. 24-21 Marshall. All right, appreciate the text. See, he gets it. Texture gets it. I appreciate that. And, all right, if we're going to do it, let's have it. Could you imagine the voice of the herd, Steve Cotton? Lorca Quinn for the win. And maybe he throws in a yes behind it, like an old-fashioned Marv Albert yes. That would be the chef's kiss on play-by-play for the game. But let's hope that it doesn't go down to a field goal. That's my biggest hope. You can be a part of the show as well. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is the number to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 as we get set for Marshall taking on Louisiana. Marshall coming into this contest 2-2, Louisiana 1-3. Thundering Herd has an opportunity to start fast in conference play. To do so, you got to beat the Ragin' Cajuns. And, of course, this is a rivalry game, right? Would you imagine a few years ago when you were looking at the opponents in the Sun Belt, and you started picking out, okay, which school is going to be the rival for the Thundering Herd? And you thought, okay, JMU is definitely that school. App State, absolutely, going to be App State. Hey, Georgia Southern, at least for me, I'm pushing that narrative. And you look at some of those matchups, and you think, okay, these are cool. Hey, look, who would have thought Coastal Carolina could have been something there? And so Louisiana, I think, gets the nod because of the fact that Marshall really got introduced to Sun Belt football because of the bowl game a few years ago. And now there have been meaningful games. None more so than the one last year, as Marshall is at Louisiana again. And we're looking at a situation here in which both these teams maybe are getting downplayed a little bit. I know Louisiana had a little bit more of a, hey, we think they're going to be good again. Marshall, we're not so sure of. And if you just look at, where they were from some of the preseason prognosticators, Marshall might not have been getting some of the look. But you've got a new look Thundering Herd team. You got Tony Gibson. And you have Marshall going into, and they've renamed the stadium at Louisiana, by the way, Our Lady of Lourdes Stadium. So the Herd's going into Our Lady of Lourdes Stadium for the rematch of last year's championship game. Of course, Marshall throttled Louisiana 31-3 in that matchup last year. So first ever victory in the series and first Sun Belt football title. So meaningful football game between the two. Obviously, we go back when Louisiana won the first ever matchup. That was in 2021. That was a 36-21 game, the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. We figured out real quick what Sun Belt football was all about. And one thing that I had to look the notes up on today, this was, believe it or not, Michael Desimo's first career victory. He was installed as the new head coach, and this was his first career victory. So there have been some interesting games in this series, very short-lived, and I know you can't play them every single year, but Marshall and Louisiana definitely has been a more interesting series for me. There's some good matchups on Saturday as well. I'm really interested in Georgia Southern at James Madison. I'm also interested in Liberty at Old Dominion. So there's some good games left on the schedule, both non-conference and conference. But Marshall at Louisiana, this could be a showcase game. Possibility. I know South Alabama at North Texas is going to be the linear game. It's on ESPNU. But this one between Marshall and Louisiana, Marshall can set the tone early. If Marshall can come out, defense plays well, plays 4 quarters. If the offense gets off to a fast start and we don't have a rain delay that lasts over 2 hours, I think we're in a good spot for this game. All right, our text line is still open, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Let's go back to the text line. Let's see. Texter said, it's a boogie trotter pick 6 to put the Herd ahead, and they win going away 28-10. All right. That's a good call. I like it. Also from the text line, Texter says, this is Holmes. I love Holmes. Texter says, hey, Paul, great interview with Mr. Andrew Brown. Enjoyed it. I'm excited to see the offense this week. I feel like we are starting to get a big push for the line and predict a 100-yard rusher this week. What say you? Rock on. I'd love to see a 100-yard rusher this week. I'd like to see maybe multiple scores from different spots. Maybe I get a quarterback run into the end zone. Maybe I get a couple of touchdowns through the air. Maybe I get a couple of touchdowns from the Marshall run attack. I'd like to see that spread out a little bit more, and I think whatever Louisiana tries to take away, the other game will thrive. So if Louisiana tries to take away the ground game, hopefully the passing attack will thrive. If Louisiana tries to take away the passing game, the run game will thrive. Or we might see a couple more RPOs. I'm not sure what Louisiana ultimately is going to want to do in trying to stop Carlos Del Rio Wilson, because he's proven that he has got the capabilities to be an effective runner, and he's looking much better with the passing attack. I think Marshall's starting to really get that offense going, as the texter said, Holmes, and I'm optimistic. I think Marshall wins this one. I'm not going to say by how much, but I am optimistic that the Herd will get it done. All right, we'll get more of your texts coming up. That's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Fall might be here, but you can still sip into summer with $3 margaritas at the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Our fresh lime margaritas are handcrafted to bring a burst of summer to your table, even on a crisp autumn day. Upgrade to mango, blackberry, spicy, or desert pear for just $1 more. Enjoy a round or two without breaking the bank. And pair it with the cafe's Baja Chicken Street Tacos for the perfect fall fiesta. Come to the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe on the corner of Fun and 3rd Avenue, downtown Huntington.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text? Online loan payments? Even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40%. Help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, Ray Crabtree, 304-736-8181. In Milton, Russ McRae, 304-743-9318. And in Lavalette, Jason Elkins, 304-529-7555.
What is that thing on the two big red eyes and the wings? Oh yeah, funky babies. Word is that the Mothman has been spotted getting his groove on at the Ritter Park Amphitheater. And did you know Funkafest has expanded to 2 days this year? That's right, Funkafest 9, The Funk Awakens, is October 3rd and 4th in Huntington, West by God, Virginia. 2 jam-packed interdimensional days of soul-shaking live music from Sneezy, Jocelyn and the Sweet Compression, the MFB, Jeremy Shore, Joey H, Massive, Chocolate Four-Wheeler, DJ Charlie Black, and more. Plus, visual art, live painting, fire and flow performers, craft beer, food trucks, funky yoga, disc golf, the Kids Corner, and that late-night silent disco on Saturday. Big love to our funky friends, The Loud, Bad Shepherd Beer Company, Bonhoff, Basque Smokehouse, Luna Pizza, Marshall University Sustainability Department, The Good Time Show, Vandalia Digital, Kindred Communications and Kindred Digital, and Graphic Solutions. Kids 12 and under get in free. Tickets at funkafest.com.
Hi, I'm Nori, and over the years, my mother and I have opened our homes to those who need it most, and it's been so rewarding. I bet you didn't know that some adults who have unfortunately been mistreated need a place to call home in West Virginia. It happens more than you know. They may have some physical or mental limitations, and they need your help. Everyone deserves a place to call their own. I can tell you from my experience, it's worth it.
If you have an open heart and want to open your home, adult family care may be the right fit for you. Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
Listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Final segment for your text, 304-396-TALK. Our text line is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Don't forget, we've got soccer coming up tonight. It's in Richmond, but the Herd is taking on VCU. And didn't I see the Herd go up in the rankings to 4th? So Marshall, a top 5 team again, as it should be. Soccer results from yesterday. Kentucky and Louisville played to a 2-2 draw, and number 10 West Virginia and number 9 High Point tied at 2. Okay, it's 5th. They did not go to 4th. I gave them an extra ranking, but they should have gone to 4th. They move up to 5th in the rankings, I believe. I'm trying to get this right now so I can actually get the right ranking for you. But I thought I saw them go up in the rankings. I could be wrong. Yeah, here it is. They're number 4. I was right. So the Herd is number 4, right after NC State, Portland, Indiana. High Point is 9th. West Virginia is 10th. So the Herd is 4th. And Kentucky is 18th. Herd standing tall, top 5 team. That should make Coach Grassi happy. All right, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line to be a part of the show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Now, what else is happening this week? Well, we've got high school football coming up this weekend. And, of course, we'll have Spring Valley right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. In Class 3A, Spring Valley is 14th. Also locally in Class 3A, Winfield comes in at 11th. In Class Single A, Wahama is 2nd. And in Class 4A, Huntington is 4th. Hurricane is 16th. Looking at Ohio, Wheelersburg and Iron Center are 1 and 2 in Division 5, Region 19. Lucasville Valley comes in at 11th, and Coal Grove is 12th. Portsmouth West came in, they're 12th in Division 6, Region 24, and Sims Valley is 3rd, and South Gallia 5th in Division 7, Region 27. So high school football coming up this weekend right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. It's going to be Spring Valley and St. Albans. That's coming up Friday night, 7 o'clock. Cabell Midland will play host to Hurricane on Friday as well, and you can video stream that on our website. Head on over to WRVC.com or our Facebook page. Also, we've got Greenup County at Ashland. That's coming up Friday night, 7 o'clock. Catch that on our sister station, 97.9 The River. So a lot happening in football this weekend. Of course, the Herd is going to be our main attraction coming up on Saturday, 5 p.m. I'm inviting every one of you to join us at Giovanni's 20th Street for the game. As we get more of your text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, Carlos Del Rio Wilson is going to throw for another 4 touchdowns. So you're saying he's good. Appreciate the text. No, that would be great if Marshall could, and if hopefully Marshall could, it would be nice, win the game early, and I don't have to worry about the rest of the game. Let's just win the game early, be done with it, and then everybody goes home happy. And again, that's going to be a little bit later of a start. But honestly, is it really going to be much later of a start since we did see a 2-hour-plus delay? I don't think so. So, here's an interesting, just kind of giving you a history of this. Louisiana and Marshall, this is the 4th time. And Louisiana, if they lose this game to Marshall, it would be their first 1-4 start to the season since 2005, and their worst start since 2007 when the team went 0-5. And you might have heard Coach mention this earlier this week. Louisiana cornerbacks coach George Barlow, he was on that 1987 1AA championship game team. So he was a safety, if you remember, for the veteran Herd fans, 1986 to 1990. So you've got a little bit of a connection here in the, well, let's put it this way. Barlow's 3 interceptions against East Tennessee State in 1989 are still tied for the program record for most in a game. he did good. He did good. So there are some interesting notes about this game. The Ragin' Cajuns are 15-9 and Sun Belt Conference openers. And this is the first time that the Ragin' Cajuns open up the conference slate at home since 2017. So I'm sure they're going to be quite jacked for this. And, of course, you've got Michael Desimo, who has taken over as the head coach. He's in season number 4. He's 24-21. Not the best of records, not the worst of records. But at the same time, I think he's done a good job. I don't know if the record really indicates that, but anymore, you look at these coaching records, and if it's not pristine and you're not winning conference championships right off the bat, guess what? You're out of here. So hopefully we've got a really good matchup coming up on Saturday between the two, but I'm hoping that we're not in a situation where it's going down to the wire. I want Marshall to do what it did in that last game. Just come out and put them away early. I mean, Louisiana scored a field goal in that first quarter, and that was it. That was all the offense that Louisiana could muster up. And that's my hope for this one again. We're going to get more in-depth into the game tomorrow also on the program. As I have mentioned, if you didn't catch it, I've got Wayne Ryan joining us. He is the executive director of the WVSSAC. We're going to find out from him why Marshall was the best place to host the championship in baseball. And that's coming up on tomorrow's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So I'm looking forward to it. It's becoming a pretty good week here. The weather outside is not lending itself to that statement, but it's been a pretty good week so far as we get closer to the herd heading down to Louisiana. I'm just hoping that they've restocked all the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that Coach Gibson had to eat, and all the Twinkies and all the Rice Krispie treats and all the crackers. I hope that they really stocked up for that and got everything in place. And I'm hoping that we don't have another 2-hour rain delay, lightning delay for the game on Saturday. But it's going to be a late one, and I hope you can join us for it and stick around after the game. We will be back on it with our post-game coverage. That's college football wrap-up. We do that after every Marshall football game right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 and on 93.7 The Dog. I want to thank my guest. Appreciate talking today to Andrew Brown, the Senior Associate Director of Athletics, Capital Projects, and Championship Facilities. Marshall going to play host to that baseball tournament next year, WVSSAC, for 3 years, and there's an option on that as well. So that's a big deal to have that tournament come to Huntington for several years. Have a great night, everyone. If you missed anything today, don't forget you can go back on our podcast and catch it. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. And you can also check it out on our website. Head over to WRVC.com, and you can listen to it there, and it's totally free. Thanks for tuning in. It's been The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.